Want to hit the record button? Wonderful, thank you. Um, so hi everybody. I think I know most of you, but my name is Dave Workmeister. I'm the president of the Patterson Park Neighborhood Association. Welcome to our January meeting. This is a very exciting meeting. This is our annual board elections. Um, you know, uh, uh, Being president of PPNA over the last year has been an um, extremely different experience for obvious reasons. Dealing with the pandemic, PPNA is an organization that honestly, from my perspective and my experience, really thrives on that in-person, interpersonal relationships, developing relationships with people in the community, being able to be, active and celebrating with neighbors and things like that. And that has been, near impossible in most cases for us to do this year. So it's been an especially challenging year for us. Um, but with those challenges, I would very much like to applaud the work of the Patterson Park Neighborhood Association board and our committee chairs. As I honestly believe I'm so proud of the work that we have all been able to do together in the face of this adversity, continuing to be able to do programming like our monthly meetings. Our committees are still active and dedicated to the missions that they each individually serve, and it's been extremely rewarding in the face of all of these challenges, to continue to get emails and texts and updates at board meetings about different um, different initiatives that we're trying to put in place, and commitments that we're making, and engagement with various populations. And it's been truly inspirational, for me to be able to work with this group. um, but that being said, we are a volunteer nonprofit organization, and in an organization like that, nobody stays on forever in these roles. um, So I would like to first and foremost thank two people here tonight, Garrett Patrick and Marin Strigley. I believe, oh, there's Marin walking back into the frame there. Um, Garrett and Marin have both served on the PPNA board for multiple years. I do believe Marin is our longest serving board member currently, and has done amazing work helping to advance PPNA in a lot of ways. She's brought an incredibly unique perspective that has helped me think very differently. She has been one of the champions of our commitment to racial justice and the development of the PPNA anti-racism statement. Um, and so I want to applaud her for the work that she's done over the last several years. I think we've almost lost count of how many years at this point, but um, big thanks to Marin for all of the work that she's done over the last several years. We very much appreciate you. Garrett Patrick as well has been an awesome resource for PPNA. He's been involved in multiple committees. He has been working closely with both our housing and our safety committees, and brings a really unique perspective. Garrett is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met, and brings with that a very analytical and methodic approach to problem solving. And that is not something that I have. I'm a salesperson by trade, and I'm very much just kind of like a, shoot from the hip and go with instinct kind of person. But, talking about different problems with Garrett over the last several years, he's really helped me kind of pump the brakes a little bit and kind of put together a more methodical plan about how we can execute things well, which has been extremely helpful to me, both in the context of the work with PPNA, but also professionally as well. So thank you very much to both Garrett and Marin, for your work and for being great friends as well. I hope that both of you will continue to be engaged with PPNA in one capacity or another. You guys are incredible assets to the neighborhood, and just wanted to say thank you to you both real quick. But with that being said,
Thank you, Dave.
yeah, absolutely. With that being said, we're going to hopefully fill your spots with people who are just as awesome as you guys are. Very excited about some of the candidates that we have coming into some vacant roles that we have, along with the rest of the board who I admire just as much, and I'm excited to continue working with here. One second here. Let me just, in terms of what, just from a community perspective of what I think you can expect over the next year. The first thing that obviously comes to my mind is I'm very hopeful that by the end of 2021, we're going to be able to be together again. I really do miss the time that we're able to spend together as a community, as a neighborhood. I've developed relationships with so many of you who are not on the board. And I miss being able, to have that in-person relationship and being able to connect that way. So very much am hopeful that that's going to be something that's going to be possible for us over the next year. Continuing to commit to working on projects and things like that with the work of our committees and things like that. And I last but not least, you can certainly expect from PPNA us continuing our commitment to racial justice in the neighborhood and being advocates for that in Southeast Baltimore, in the 1st District, and citywide. So just a few little nuggets for people to think about in the upcoming year. And if those are things that you're interested, we'd love to hear from everybody here about how we can continue to work together to make both Patterson Park and Baltimore in general a better place and a more neighborly place. So with that, we'll get started with our election process. I'm going to hand it over to Taylor Binnix to give a quick introduction to how this is going to operate this year, because obviously it's not the same as every year when we would have in-person ballots sitting in the basement of St. Elizabeth's Church and everybody filling out paper ballots. We're not going to be able to do that this year. So Taylor's going to kind of walk us through the process of what we're looking for from our 2021 elections.
Great. Thank you, Dave. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Taylor Binnix. I serve as the secretary for the Patterson Park Neighborhood Association. So normally during the board elections, we'd have a chance to hear from each candidate in person. To become a candidate, you can nominate yourself, or you can nominate a friend or a neighbor that lives in our area. Often in person, people nominate themselves on the spot, feeling inspired by the community. So we hope that could happen tonight, but the voting will stay open from tonight all the way through January 18th, so a week from today. There are 8 board positions. You are welcome to nominate yourself or a neighbor to run for a position where someone is already running, or you're welcome to run to fill a vacancy. Tonight, we have 5 returning board members who will share with you about why they're rerunning to stay on the board. And we have 2 neighbors who are candidates for some of our board vacancies. To be able to vote, you should be a resident or property owner in our neighborhood. Our website has sector bounds. Our neighborhood covers the section that is due north of Patterson Park, all the way from Patterson Park Ave to Highland. We will vote virtually. So tonight, so here we've screen shared the section of where you have to be a resident or a property owner. It's okay if you are in the area short term or if you're renting or owning, but we encourage widespread participation. So to vote, according to our bylaws, you have to be a paid member and you also have to have attended 2 meetings. Because of the pandemic, these things are going to look a little bit different. So the current board has voted that on the Google form, we will ask for your street address to verify that you are in our area. So this is not an anonymous process. And we'll be following up regarding your intention to be a paid member. We also want this to be a very inclusive process. So for neighbors who are not able to tune in live, you can refer them to the recording for tonight's meeting, as well as the Google form to follow up. Any questions on that? The Google form link will be dropped as the candidate speeches go on. So any questions there on the virtual voting process? Okay, feel free to send me an email or a direct message during tonight's Zoom meeting if you think of anything. So back over to you, Dave.
Great, thank you, Taylor. Have we dropped the Google form into the chat yet?
I can do that right now, thanks.
Great. Oh, sorry. I just messed something up on the, there we go, sorry, on the Google form there. Okay, so while Taylor is dropping that into the chat, I kind of gave a little introduction to myself, but my name is Dave Workmeister. I've been a homeowner in Patterson Park for the last 7 years. Lived in Patterson Park, a block away from my house, for about 2 years before that. Fell in love with the neighborhood, fell in love with the community here. Really just loved that, you know, I had neighbors who I knew and were familiar with me, neighbors that you can text and, you know, get a cup of milk or a cup of sugar or a cup of flour or anything like that. But the sense of community here really drew me in. A couple years after purchasing my house here, I ended up getting involved with PPNA on, like a lot of people do, by just getting involved in a committee. I started working with our youth and family engagement committee, was a part of that for about a year, then became a co-chair of that committee. A year after that, I became secretary of Patterson Park, and a year after that was my first term as president. This upcoming year would be my 3rd term as PPNA president, and I cannot tell you how excited I am about the potential of that. I've had the opportunity to develop a lot of relationships with people all over Southeast Baltimore, you know, other people in community associations and city leadership. And I really think that has been one of my biggest strengths is working to build those relationships with people outside of Patterson Park, collaborate with them, and also the experience of working with kind of the broader PPNA landscape, developing projects, and you know, working with neighbors to make sure that their needs are being met. You know, I've really appreciated the support that I've gotten from the board, and will definitely look forward to continuing to work with them. But you know, I feel like I definitely still have some gas in the tank. I'm still so excited about the position of president with PPNA, and look forward to continuing to serve you guys for another term, and working with all of you in a stronger capacity. So thank you all very much. And I guess the next formal question I should ask is there anybody else on the in the meeting who has interest in running for president? I'll take that as a no. So with that, please consider a vote for me for PPNA president. With that, The next position that we'll be hearing speeches from would be secretary, and we were going to start with Taylor Binnix, who is our current secretary.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the introduction, Dave. I'm Taylor Binnix. I am a neighbor on the 100 block of North Decker Avenue, and I have served in the role of Patterson Park Neighborhood Association Secretary since 2019. Tonight, I'll give you a brief recap of my experience in the role and why I'm interested in running for re-election. 2020 was not what we expected it to be. When the COVID-19 pandemic started in mid-March, it forced an abrupt cancellation of the 2020 leadership retreat for PPNA. That was our time for setting strategic planning, goals, and priorities, but we quickly had to shift. And as the year went on and days rolled into months, we continued to shift given the seismic political and social changes happening in our homes, our neighborhood, and our country. Things I learned last year by being connected with our neighborhood are that we're never alone. We're not doing this community work alone, and we're not enduring this pandemic alone. Despite the mental health challenges of loneliness and widespread loss, and the physical health challenges of symptoms and fatigue, and the social challenges of unending racial injustice, we are connected geographically, if nothing else, and we're connected in spirit. So we are continuing to work for our neighborhood together. And through PPNA, I have loved staying connected with our city and our state. In 2020, I heard from guests that told us about activities at the Maryland State Delegation and informed us about small ways of helping neighbors in our own area who are suffering from food insecurity or unemployment or housing disruption. But despite these challenges, PPNA also had some significant wins in 2020. I was instrumental in the role of taking PPNA to an all virtual platform. So now we have fully digitally recorded internet accessible meetings, a comprehensive site index of contact information for all of our resources and guests, and 3 times monthly email blasts for newsletters, reminders, and announcements. I've also continued to support the work of PPNA committees. In April, the Economic Development Committee installed a pop-up pantry, 2 of them in different areas around Patterson Park with canned goods. And in September, we fully onboarded a new committee chair. With the drive and motivation of a very committed neighbor, we launched the Sustainability Committee of PPNA. The organization has also enacted our commitment to anti-racism. Back in June, the PPNA leadership co-authored the anti-racism statement, which outlines 6 commitments to action for combating systemic racism. We completed an equity audit in October that shed light on our biases and our areas of growth as an organization. So it's been a year of hard conversations. I have experienced a lot of redefining my personal perceptions and challenges to perceptions of our organization. But I'm interested in running for re-election because I'm continued to doing this work alongside each of you. I have 3 priorities for PPNA going forward into 2021. And the first is to continue our commitment to anti-racism. I'd like to establish a monthly schedule of education or training opportunities that are available and informative for PPNA leaders and community members. Secondly, I'd like to improve our outreach and engagement initiatives. Despite having a robust virtual platform, we are still not fully reaching many of our Spanish-speaking neighbors and our neighbors who are not digitally connected. So this could be in the form of a postcard drop to all of our homes or more organized, socially distant in-person hangouts. And thirdly, I'm committed to improving the PPNA infrastructure for future generations of our organization's leaders. I'll work with the newly elected treasurer to make a more transparent record keeping system for our neighbors that choose to become annual paid members. And I'd also like to update our PPNA bylaws from 2017 to reflect the current needs of our area and our ongoing shifts and priorities. With that, I would love your support. I'm happy to connect with you over email or for a walk in the park, and take any questions you may have for me.
Any questions for Taylor? All right, thank you so much, Taylor. We appreciate you. And at this point, I should ask, is there anybody else who is interested in running for the position of Secretary of PPNA? Okay, thank you all so much. And thank you, Taylor. Next up would be the position of Treasurer. We have one candidate who expressed interest in this position ahead of the meeting, and I will let her go first. That would be Miss Kelly Poole.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly Poole, and as you heard, I am running for PPNA Treasurer. I'm a Michigan native, but have called Baltimore my home for the last 13 years. I've lived all over the city and have moved a bunch of times. So I have lived in and around Patterson Park for the last 10 years. And then this past May, my husband and I purchased a home right on Pratt and Curley Street, right in the middle of a pandemic. Great time for home buying. But you know, life happens. I'm a science teacher in Baltimore City Public Schools, and I'm passionate about the environment. And I also try to make my classroom a safe space for my students, especially those that are Black and Brown. I'm also working a lot in that area in general, trying to grow professionally and personally. And I look forward to growing with my neighbors in that way as well. My hobbies include hiking, traveling, biking, baking, and watching reality TV, Bachelor's on tonight at 8 p.m. And while I am a volunteer at Friends of Patterson Park, I'd like to contribute in the community in other ways and help bring Patterson Park neighbors together. So why treasurer? I'm left-brained, Myers-Briggs ESTJ, type A, or Slytherin Ravenclaw mixed breed, whichever of those you prefer. With that said, organization is my forte. So data tracking and monitoring is a necessary skill as a teacher, and a skill in which, you know, I've considered myself mastered. So I've also led a few projects as a teacher, such as becoming a Maryland Green School certified. Also, thank you, Allison Blood, for your assistance in that area as well. And I co-advise our Gay Straight Alliance at school as well. So both of those projects involve tracking various debits and credits, as well as maintaining a budget. With all of that said, I'm also pretty resourceful and don't have a problem admitting when I don't know something. So if I don't know it, I can find the answer and get help with that. So I think I could do a good job. So pick me.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Is there anybody else who's interested in running for PPNA Treasurer? Okay, thank you all, and thank you very much, Kelly. Next up would be, we're moving on to our vice president of our 5 sectors within Patterson Park, and we'll be starting with Patterson Place. The incumbent is Ernest Lee, who is running for re-election. So I will let you go first, Ernest.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dave. My name is Ernest. This will be my 4th year as a VP of Patterson Place and as a member of the board. I'm in the rather interesting place of running on a platform of what I was planning to do before the pandemic hit, rather than what my accomplishments were in the past year. I was going to start organizing events in the neighborhoods so that people could see each other face to face, mostly block parties. I am, as some of you know, very oriented on bringing together people around food. It's unfortunate that that's not possible right now. I really haven't done as much baking as I really wanted to last year. But it's not just about having parties, but when people come face to face, they get to know each other, and that's how you build communities. And so last year, what I was going to do was, in addition to the community dumpster, I was going to set up a party for us to, you know, gather around, get to know each other, and bring in people who don't have access to online resources or may not be active on Facebook, and so on and so forth. I was also planning to do a lot of just walking around door to door, getting to know people. That was not possible last year either. Hopefully, I will be able to do that this year, should you give me another term. Quite frankly, even if I am not elected as VP of Patterson Place and am not reelected to the board, I will probably still be involved anyway, because I am very passionate about this person-to-person connection and building communities this way. I think that not only is that very important to a neighborhood like Patterson Park, but also to our society as a whole. So that is my platform. I would be very honored to represent you again, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ernest. Is there anybody else who would be interested in running for the VP of Patterson Place? All right. Thank you very much, Ernest. Next up would be our West sector. The current incumbent is Danielle Roberts. Danielle, I will let you go first. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, everyone. Danielle Roberts. And as you may already know, if you were here kind of at the beginning of the call, I'm from Ohio originally, but have been in Baltimore for about 6.5 years, and in the Patterson Park neighborhood kind of more properly for about 3.5. So I'm on the unit block of North Rose, which, as Dave said, is in the West sector. And this has actually just been my first year on the board. So, it was a unique first year, and definitely still, fulfilling in a lot of ways, and a lot of undone and unaccomplished things that hopefully we can work on together in the coming years, particularly this next year. So I was kind of thinking back to last year when I was thinking about, running for the first time and why I wanted to be involved. And I think two of the key things I mentioned then were kind of outreach and infrastructure and project management, and just getting, a bit learning first about how that's already being done, and then finding ways that I could support, optimizing that further. And also, passion around sustainability in terms of personal practices, and then helping, a larger group of people in our neighborhood connect to ways they could also play a positive role in, social change around the climate, and living more sustainable lifestyles, particularly given all of our passion for being near the park, and appreciating, what that offers to us, especially during the pandemic. So not that there has been too much accomplished in those areas kind of as single-handed successes, but I have had a chance to really work, in small groups, and with other folks in those two areas. So worked a little bit to support Taylor and to kind of help think through some of our outreach and engagement plan pieces, and kind of think holistically about that, and with a small group to kind of talk about ways we might look to do that in the future, to reach more neighbors, as a few folks have already mentioned. And really see our organization as representing our neighbors. So kind of how do we not only reach more people, but hear what our neighbors want, and then serve as a platform to really amplify our voices and our neighbors' voices kind of in our larger community and city. And so wanting to continue on that, but it was good learning just in kind of the first year what we already have in place, and how I might be able to lend time and energy and interest to supporting optimizing that. And then, having created the sustainability committee for the first time, just tried to, as I could, and as it made sense, support Allison's leadership on that, and has been really fun to think through how we can provide, composting in a neighborhood-friendly way. And I think we're, getting close to that possibility. So I definitely would hope to continue to support Allison's work on that in the coming year and moving forward into the future. So I think priorities just are kind of continuing those things that I mentioned, last year at the outset when I was applying to or kind of running to be on the board, and hoping that by being in person, we can also kind of, make even more progress than we were able to this year. I think one additional piece I've just felt like has been, maybe a growing edge for me this year is to kind of do some more outreach in the particular sector that I'm in. I think with the pandemic, it's hard to know people's comfort levels, and in terms of, introducing myself and just seeing what neighbors' needs are at more of a personal level, and how maybe I can kind of gather more information from folks in the neighborhood in person about what they need and what they want to see from PPNA. And then to continue to support kind of holistically our anti-racism work. I think particularly if folks have seen the statement and kind of the thinking that we've been trying to do, two pieces of that are interesting to me are kind of the allyship piece. What does that mean for those of us in the neighborhood who do identify as white? How can we be allies in, a productive and honest and authentic way? And then also the components of advocacy. So I do some advocacy work with my job, and just thinking about how that could translate into our neighborhood, and kind of do some advocacy at the city level or in other capacities to try to create better policy change that will benefit our entire community. So looking forward to the possibility of staying on the board for another year if that makes sense for everyone else. And looking forward to working with all of you and meeting you either way.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Do we have anybody else who's interested in running for the VP of the West Sector? Okay. Next up is our East Sector. The current incumbent is Cheryl Bryant. Cheryl, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dave. My name is Cheryl Bryant, and I am, of course, my phone rings now, sorry. Okay, thank you. And I'm the VP East currently. I'm a longtime resident of Patterson Park. I lived in the West Sector most of the years that I've been here, and then a little over a year ago, I purchased a home in the East Sector, and I wanted to run for VP East. I served for many years as the chair of the Friends of Library Square, and when Pat Lundberg was president, I was instrumental in bringing Friends of Library Square into PPNA as a committee. Last year when I made my speech, I just really gave my resume. I have a very long resume for work in the Patterson Park area. And I'm not going to go through all of that again, because I think most of you know it. And if you don't, you can contact me directly and I'll let you know. But last January, in addition to being elected to this position, I also started a new position as the community school coordinator at William Packer Elementary School. And I feel like I have used that position to help leverage my position as VP East, and by working with different committees and businesses in this area to help benefit the entire neighborhood. I'm also a professional fundraiser. I'm a member of the AFP, the Association of Fundraising Professionals, Maryland chapter. I've been a professional fundraiser for over 20 years, and I've written grants for William Packer. Like Ernest, I feel like this year, because of the pandemic, I did not get a lot done that I wanted to get done. Most of it because of the pandemic. I'm hoping for this year to finish some of the things and really get to work on a lot of the plans I wanted to do. We did some things on a smaller level, like within our block with neighbors and socializing. Really am hoping we will be able to, even though it's not in the East Sector, I'm hoping that we can get back into Library Square and do some of the events, because Library Square is open for all of us, and hopefully do some social distance events at that time. I'm really committed to the food disparity issues. We do a food distribution at PACA that's open to all residents, and I want to plan to keep that going. We just got some funding to keep it going until June now, so that was good news. I also wanted to work on some of the parking issues in this area, because we all know the problems that we have with parking. Also, we're working with eviction prevention through my job at Southeast CDC, and anybody who knows anyone who's at least 1 month behind in their rent, you can have them contact me and I can get them a referral for that. $25 billion is just gone out for eviction prevention, and people's back rents can be paid for up to a year now. So this is a time if you know anybody needs that help. I'm also hoping for this year that we will be able to have our more neighborhood cleanups again. We did still have some last year. We did them on a smaller scale, but I'm hoping that people don't think because of the pandemic, we don't still have a trash problem. I'm very disappointed that they are, the plastic bag ban is going to be later taking effect, but I hope all of us will have already stopped using the plastic bags. And also this year I fought a battle, and I'm going to admit a loss, with DPW about the recycling. You all know I was very upset when they stopped the recycling program, and I was very vocal and lodged a lot of complaints, got other residents behind me to reach out, but we lost that one. But anyway, recycling is coming back this year, and we did some other things to get around it. So I'm hoping that because of my reputation in the past, that you know that you can expect great things from me in the future, and that you will vote for me to remain as VP of the East Sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. We appreciate it. Is there anybody else who is interested in running for the VP of the East Sector? Okay. Next up is going to be the South Sector. Maren Strigley was the incumbent in that sector, and we have two candidates running for the VP of the South Sector this year. We have J.C. Maurer, excuse me, J.C. Maurer and Gabriel Dutton. J.C., we will have you go first. The floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Mr. President, Associated Board members, and PPNA members. My name is J.C. Maurer III. I'm originally a St. Louis native. I'm a retired Navy chief and bleed blue and gold through and through for my Navy Academy friends, all of you out there. I've lived in Baltimore for nearly 8 years now, and 7.5 of them right here in Patterson Park. I moved from the North Milton block to the South Potomac block to now almost 6 years on the unit block of South Curly. My 6 months away from Patterson Park was spent in Hamden, where I found myself constantly returning to the area for friends and community events and social sports in the park.
Hey, so, JC, not to interrupt you real quick, I think I might have accidentally turned off your video. If you could click that, I am terribly sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. I think it said start video, so I don't know if I'm back or not, but as long as everybody can continue to hear me, I'll keep speaking. I've served in the DOD in one form and another for the past 28 years, including my military time. I'm currently in an executive position with DCMA, Defense Contract Management Agency, where our office is located downtown on Redwood. I plan on retiring from the same position in about 18 years, so I'm gonna be around for a little bit. I've always found myself as a real people person, which explains the very large E in my Myers-Briggs results, and ESTJ to be precise, but I also imagine many of you out there are also extroverts. When I'm not hanging out with my friends in the park, I like to get away on small trips where I can camp and take my Jeep off-roading. I really miss being social and large events where I can catch up on some real people watching. That's the fun. Not to mention the countless hours I've lost and won at local Patterson Park social events. I love playing bocce and softball in the park, and I've traditionally played every season until recently, of course. Um, I've grown into a community leader amongst my fellow neighbors and friends over the many years, and have contributed to such PPNA events such as mulching Fayette Street, cleaning up Patterson Park on a few other occasions posted by the association. I have friends affiliated with the association, such as Pat Lumberg, Maddie Woodworth, and Chris Beal, and I'm glad to see Pat here tonight, hopefully supporting me here in my nomination. In my time in the local area, I have personally contributed hundreds of hours to the local Halloween party traditionally thrown in Green Alley for the last 6 years. While my buddy Jeff has recently moved out to the county and Chris has stepped down, I'm going to look to invigorate that crew in 2021 to potentially make that event happen again for the years to come. I can offer you 110 support at even the oddest of hours while supporting the president and the board's decision on even the most difficult decisions in our community faces, such as crime, trash, and racial justice. I will challenge you to invite new ideas such as more block lighting, street closures when a block is determined to come together. We also have other challenges such as street cans on more corners and possibly identifying potential block mayors to police small things such as rude neighbors and people who neglect their pets. I feel I can properly represent our PPNA South members best by continuing to support our local businesses, maintaining friendships through places such as Patterson Public House, Romans, and my continued order of 2 chicken tacos every Sunday at Tijuana Tacos for the past 5 years. Not to mention maintaining a pulse with our friends and patriots throughout the area as I walk my dog on a daily basis. I've never been too shy to approach somebody and ask them how they would like to see our community improve, or even go door to door if necessary. I openly challenge you all to please accept my nomination as Vice President of PPNA South and find me as a peer and neighborly friend who shares your passion and wants nothing more but the best for our community and our beloved city and park. Lastly, I'll state that I've seen the greatness and effects of this association over the years in the area that I wasn't even aware of. I personally share that same passion for improvements in the united community around us for upgrades in our neighborhood. May the best candidate service to the best of their ability. Thank you.
Thank you much. Thank you very much, JC. Next up, we have Gabriel Dutton. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate the introduction. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. Again, my name is Gabriel Dutton, and I'm running for the VP position of the Community Association South. My wife and I moved to Patterson Park in 2016. We bought a old, really beat up home on the uniblock south of South Potomac Street, and we didn't move in until 2017. It took that long to get the home together, but that's the beginning of our story. And I'll back up a little bit and describe that I'm a lifelong Baltimore resident, and I like to boast that I know a little bit about every community, primarily the West Side. Now that changed in 2016. I was driving down East Baltimore Street. And at this time, my wife and I just began our home buying search, and we were committed to living in the city because we're both from the city. But we really weren't tied on it's a one neighborhood to choose. But again, I was riding down East Baltimore Street, and it was a warm spring day, and the park was just electric. And I parked my car and I got out and I just started walking through the park. And it was something that I'd never seen before. It was in my city, that it just seemed like it was a different place. So I remember going home and telling my wife that we need to move to Patterson Park. There were a few things that I saw that made me feel like it was a place to call home. Number one was the diversity. growing up on the West Side in neighborhoods that weren't really diverse, I thought it was important for me to raise a family in an atmosphere that took into account everyone's, in opinions, races, and just cultural things that were super important. So that's the reason why I chose Patterson Park. I've been there since, again, 2016. My goal is, if elected, is to continue to promote diversity. I know in this COVID atmosphere, it can be challenging to do without, face-to-face contact with a number of folks. But I have a specific skill. I'm a realtor, one of the top 30 in the Baltimore metropolitan area, in their 30s, gotta add that in there. And I've literally knocked thousands of doors. And I think that is a great way to promote community engagement, dropping off maybe a flyer or so to folks that don't know that we have virtual sessions, but still would like to be engaged or would like to be encouraged to be engaged. I think that's very important. I think it could be very important to elect me because I represent diversity in the neighborhood. I think a lot of folks that don't see potentially themselves represented in leadership may choose not to engage for whatever reason, may not feel comfortable enough to get out and participate in some of the wonderful activities that the association has going on. And my main goal, if elected, would be to continue to promote that diversity and connect with all members of the neighborhood to really create the place in which I was so attracted to back in 2016, and confident enough in to buy, invest, and raise a family. So that's my story. It would be truly an honor to service the community in that way and continue to help promote diversity in our home. So thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. Thank you to both JC and Gabriel. And I'll just say, however things shake out with the election process, I really do hope that both of you will continue to be involved. Having a board position or a vice president position is certainly one way to contribute. But I think everybody on the board and a lot of people within the community, recognize that or can always find ways for neighbors who are passionate about Patterson Park and passionate about community. There's always going to be a place for you. And, we hope that however things turn out, that you guys will remain engaged with us and be open to dialogue about how you can continue to contribute in whatever capacity. So with that, the last board position that we have open, being vacated by Garrett Patrick, is the VP of our northern sector. We do not currently have any candidates for that sector. Is there anybody from the north sector here who would be interested in running for VP North? Okay. If you know any neighbors in the north sector, please engage with them and let them know that there is a vacancy within PPNA that we would love to discuss with them. Find a way for us to connect, and we can kind of give them an idea of what's involved in this role, and hopefully find somebody who will be a good fit and be a good advocate for our northern sector. So thank you for that. With that, Taylor reposted in the chat there the Google form that again is going to be open through January 18th. So next on the agenda, we're going to do a very quick rundown of our committees. For the committee chairs who are here, please.
Dave, I think JC has his hand up.
Oh, JC, sorry, I didn't see that.
Yep. So Dave, I don't live in the north area, but I'm willing to travel. So I don't know if that's an option, but I just want, like I said, I really just want to be a part of the association one way or another. Reaching out even to our members in the North area would not be something I'm against. If
Sure.
that's an option the board is willing to consider as well. Over.
Wonderful. Yeah, we can follow up after the 18th and have a conversation. Perfect. Thank you for that. Before we jump into the quick intros to our committees, I wanted to give Taylor a minute to talk about the PPNA website.
Sure, yeah. So just a couple reminders for everybody, some things that current board members and future board members mentioned. Our website has a lot of very robust information. So I'm going to drop a few links or a few web pages in the chat for you here. The first one, okay, these didn't come across as hyperlinks. The first thing that you'll find on our website is the anti-racism statement from June. Going forward, we hope that all board members and neighbors will continue to commit to these anti-racism action items. There's also the sector bounds, which we showed early on in the meeting. So feel free to look up your own address where you fall, and wanted to share that with you to also to help you put the name with the face, to understand which board members and which candidates are closest to where you live, and hopefully use that as a way to connect with you more personally. In just a few minutes, we'll hear from some of our active committee chairs. So we're so thrilled that they've tuned in tonight. For anybody else who's feeling inspired to get connected with PPNA but isn't ready to run for a board position, I would love for you to check out our website and get connected with the committee chairs. So I just wanted to draw your attention to those items and think through some of these projects that our committee chairs are about to share with you.
Great, thank you so much. So we're going to start out again, if we could just keep this to 1 or 2 minutes, just kind of introducing the committee itself and kind of generally speaking what you're working on, and maybe if there's some plans for the future. We'll start with Megan Doyle, who is our Economic Development Chair.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan Doyle. I am the Economic Development Chair, as Dave just said. I've already wasted 30 of my seconds repeating something Dave just said. I serve as the point person for supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs, liaison for city initiatives that provide grants and facade funding and things like that, and then just trying to raise our neighbors' awareness of all of the ways that they can meet their needs within our zip code. So my big baby is the hyperlocal gift guide, which was in its second year. And in the future, this is just the night of things I would have done had 2020 not happened. But in the future, I really want to have more robust support, including a Jane's Walk, which is basically an economic development driver for promoting businesses around the area, and just in general supporting the idea of keeping money where your house is. I'm also having a literal baby in May, so if you want to join this committee and help me, because I probably need it soon, I'd be happy to have a co-chair or just anyone who has an interest in small business development, or if you're a business owner yourself and you want to see how your baby, oh my God, your business can be supported by the neighborhood. Reach out. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you so much, Megan. Next up, we have our Greening Committee, and our committee chair is Daniel Chavez.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Dan. I'm the Greening Chair this year. I joined last year mid-COVID pandemic when it was happening. My goal is to basically make sure our neighborhood is the greenest one in the city. This year, I'm planning on having like greening happy hours on each block so that way people can get involved. I will be posting my email and our social media on the group chat so you guys can follow us and stay up to date with everything we're doing this year. So make sure to follow our social media. So that's it.
Yeah, everybody definitely tune in for info on the bi-weekly greening happy hours. They're going to be a lot of fun. We did one of those last year, and definitely looking forward to that this year. Next up, our housing committee.
I just want to say, Daniel, we are the greenest neighborhood association in Baltimore. We're not trying to. We
absolutely,
are.
absolutely. We are. Next up, we have housing, chaired by former PPNA president Pat Lumberg.
Thanks, Dave. And thanks, guys. I like, you know, it's funny. There's another neighborhood in Baltimore that has greenest neighborhood in Baltimore as like their slogan, but it ain't gonna fly.
Lauraville.
That's right. Lauraville, that's right.
We told them, Pat, that we are. Remember,
That's
I
right.
remember that at the land.
Yeah. I feel like we had,
told them.
I feel like we had a face to face, like in one of like the home selling events through Live Baltimore. We're like
Yep.
bumping chests. It was like, you think
Like gang wars.
It was like the Beat It music video.
Oh, geez. I love it. That's so good. Yeah, thanks, Dave. So hello, everybody. Good to see all you guys. So housing committee. So the housing committee really has four main kind of tenets that we work towards in terms of fulfilling our responsibilities as a committee. One is code enforcement, one is blight elimination and addressing vacant properties, neighborhood development and affordable housing, and partnerships and outreach. Right now, I think we're doing a really good job at two of those buckets. That's where kind of our main focus has been in the last year. That's on code enforcement and blight elimination. However, there's more work that we can be doing in the neighborhood development and affordable housing realm, as well as building up our partnerships and outreach. We're involved, I would say, in all these things, but most of our efforts lately have been in the first two, which is good, but we definitely like to build our capacity to do more. Right now, I'm trying to really kind of build up the capacity and structure of the committee. I mentioned this to the board previously, but I would like to move on from my committee chair responsibilities sometime this year, preferably in the first or second quarter if possible. However, I don't want to do that without getting it to a place that it could easily transition to somebody else. So if you're interested in being involved, please let me know. I'm working with a couple other people right now. However, we definitely need some more assistance and capacity. So let me know if you're interested. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Pat. Next up would be our safety committee, which is chaired by Mr. Arch McCown.
Hello, everyone. Arch here. So I've been in the neighborhood since 2007. We actually moved just around the corner to Butcher's Hill late last year. But I'm a stone's throw away, and because crime, as you know, and community safety doesn't really like stick to like one little geography. You know, it's kind of all around. So I've been in this role for a number of years, and on and off, and since probably 2008, on and off. But this year and last year, we have sector captains. And so we have sector captains for each of the 5 sectors. And I'm currently looking for a sector captain for the South sector as well. So whoever becomes a VP there, I'll be definitely working with you to fill that slot. And so, you know, community safety, like, you know, a lot of neighborhood associations call their thing crime prevention, but we're really more than that. And, you know, I can get into that later, but when, you know, we talk Baltimore, I go to these Baltimore citywide things, a lot of times they use PPNA, they use us as a example of what great looks like, because we do a lot of things correctly and we do a lot of things holistically. And so, you know, crime prevention is one part of it. We do work with BPD, the Southeast District, but we also, you know, work with housing, and we work with the greening, and we work, you know, across with ROCA, which I can explain that at some other point, but we work with these other nonprofits. And I think, you know, as a result, we've had huge decreases in various, I'd say, crime indices and livability. And, you know, we just want to make our neighborhood to be welcome to everyone of all walks of life, but also safe, because, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Safety is like one of the main factors, right? That every human wants to feel safe and be safe. So that's what we strive for. So I'd love to have you guys, anybody listening in, please, you know, contact me, get involved. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. I have a team of very dedicated people who, a lot of them, they don't even want to be like really out there. They don't want to be known, but they do like web searches on things, and it's, you know, it gets kind of complicated. And we also have the best camera network in the city. And that's been, I can brag on ourselves. That's been published in Baltimore Sun and various news organizations everywhere. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much, Arch. We appreciate your work on all of those fronts.
Thank you.
Next up is sustainability, and the chairperson is Miss Allison Blood.
Hey everyone, the Sustainability Committee, as Taylor alluded to earlier, is newly launched. So we are still actively seeking members and ideas from our neighbors on ways to make Patterson Park more sustainable and resilient. We have our highest initiative starting the year is composting, as Daniel mentioned, and also shout out to Owen for getting that ball rolling. We are hoping to bring a composting drop-off location that is free to our neighbors very soon. So we'll keep you updated on that. If anybody has questions, has ideas, wants to get involved, please email me at sustainability@pattersonparkneighbors.org, which can also be found just by navigating to the Sustainability Committee page on our website at pattersonparkneighbors.org. But yeah, lots of exciting things. Would love to hear from anyone on ideas that they have. And we'll be getting some information out soon on more things that we'll be working on. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Allison. And last but not least would be our Transportation Committee. That is chaired by Colin Hayward, who was not able to make it tonight. Luckily, I have been working very closely with Colin over the last year on several different projects. As it says, our Transportation Committee focuses on a number of different facets related to transportation in general. Most notably would be pedestrian safety throughout the neighborhood, trying to decrease speeds and increase safety for pedestrians, whether that's creating bump outs on corners that have low visibility, helping pedestrians have a better line of sight to oncoming traffic, implementing various other traffic calming measures. And Colin and I have also worked a lot this year, and I forgot to mention this during my speech, on a very large grant, a very large state grant this year for community artwork in crosswalks. Colin and I applied for about $65,000 worth of state money for this community art project. So that's another exciting project that we're still waiting to hear on. But if you're interested in public transit, bike safety, pedestrian safety, just basically turning Patterson Park into a more equitable place in terms of transit, please feel free to reach out to Colin or myself, and we'll get you information on how you can contribute to that. With that being said, that would wrap up the formal portion of our meeting tonight. I apologize, I am a liar. It is 8:10, and we actually went a lot longer than what I thought we were going to, but I really appreciate hearing about everybody's passion, whether you're a board member, a board candidate, a committee chair. I really appreciate all of the work that you guys do. I'm proud to work alongside you and look forward to working together with you guys for another year. Are there any other quick community announcements? I see Mr. Larry Nunley has turned on his camera. Is there anything you want to just jump in real quick, and I can give you about a minute?
Okay. Happy New Year, everyone, first of all, and congratulations to those who are running, who are becoming, and some of the greatest people I know. I live right down the street. I'm not that far from you. But anyway, Monday, the MLK, we will, everything will be closed as far as our places. On the 19th, we're looking to have curbside recycling. If there's any changes in that, I will let you know, okay? I want you, all of you, to know that you can reach me, and I say all of you, meaning the vice president and stuff. I mainly hear from Dave, but please, if you have any issues or concerns dealing with DPW, I want you to reach out to me. I'm looking for the chat. I was looking for it earlier, but I will put my email address in there as well as the telephone number to reach me. My telephone number is a 24-hour telephone number, and since we don't have any children online, I can tell you that I find that help comes at 5 minutes to 5, not at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. It's coming when nobody's answering their phone. So please reach out to me. We can make sure that truly your area is the greenest of the green. Okay? And again, if you have any questions, issues, or concerns, please, I would love to hear from you. Okay.
Can you give us your phone number real quick? I already put your email in the chat, so I'll put your phone number in there.
443-615-2626. And that's a cell number. And you can text me.
Great.
All
I
right.
put that number in the chat as well. So we have
All
both
right,
your email
wonderful. I
and
really
cell phone in
appreciate
there.
it.
And we appreciate you, Larry. Thank you so much for joining in tonight.
All right.
Are there any
Thank
other
you.
quick community announcements?
Dave, just the one at William Packer has food distribution every Wednesday at 11 a.m. It's from 11 to 1 p.m. every Wednesday. Keep your fingers crossed. We're funded to the end of March, but we submitted another grant that will fund us until the end of June. So for USDA grant, so keep your fingers crossed for that. And also, and if you can either pick up food, if you're interested in volunteering, you can contact me directly. My cell is 443-648-5748. That's my work cell. Or you can email me, Cheryl@southeastcdc.org. We ask volunteers if they can come at 10 to help us set up. And
That's perfect.
stay as long
Cheryl,
as
where will you be having that again, and what date is that?
we have it every Wednesday at William Packer Elementary School, 200
Okay.
North Lakewood Avenue,
What time?
11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We do food,
Okay.
diapers, we do food boxes, we do diapers. We often have masks, cleaning supplies, pretty much whatever I can get donated, but we always have food. We have diapers usually half the time because we get diapers once a month from Share Baby, and
Okay.
they last a
Thank
couple.
you.
Mhm.
Great. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
With that, again, I feel like I've said it a million times tonight, but thank you to everybody who chimed in tonight. And I'm very much looking forward to 2021, and hope to see all of you again very soon, and certainly hope to see you all again next month.